Well, now we're moving on to Samantha, who is with Cambria, and she got into conservation at an early age. She told us, here's Samantha, everybody. She said that she really fell in love with it when she was reading the Ranger Rick magazines. And when she started out at Jackson Family Wines, she was super impressed with her dedication to taking care of the environment. And so she was a natural fit to lead their sustainability committee. And today she's going to talk to us about ways that you can green up your own tasting rooms. Go ahead and take it on.
Well, thank you. As Beth said, I'm Samantha, and today I'll be talking about why sustainability matters for the tasting room and what you can do to practice it with your staff and promote it to your customers. There we go. So when you think and talk sustainability, 9 times out of 10, you're referencing protocols in the vineyards and wineries, grapes being sustainably grown, wines being sustainably produced, and what the vineyards and wineries are doing to minimize their impact on the environment. So what does sustainability have to do with the tasting room, and why is it important? It's pretty obvious, but tasting rooms are the face of the winery. They're often the first impression a winery can give a customer. Tasting rooms create positive experiences for customers, driving sales and growing your consumer base by word of mouth. Those first impressions become really important when 83% of American shoppers consider sustainability when making food purchases. 66% of consumers who purchase sustainably produced wines make their choices by reading labels and in-store information. If your wines and vines are sustainable, you need to be obvious. That SIP certified symbol on the back of the bottle is great for having your wines out in the marketplace, but if someone just walks into the tasting room, how will they know your wines are SIP certified if they never see the bottle until after purchase? Promoting sustainability in the tasting room shows that sustainability is not just an abstract concept for vineyard managers and winemakers. It is not just something to put on the label. It is a belief, a culture of making sure that the winery, wines, vines, locale, and community will be healthy and thriving for years to come. So how can your tasting room staff promote your brand's sustainability in practice? Let's look at the ways, both outside and inside the tasting room, that you can strengthen that message of being eco-conscious. So as your customers walk up to the tasting room, you're immediately presented with an opportunity to show your commitment to sustainability through the gardening and landscaping around your area. Xeriscaping is a really great low to no water option, a low maintenance style of landscaping that reduces the irrigation need for the tasting room property. Water conservation is so important for our water poor state. Swapping out long grass for decorative rocks, pea gravel, and stepping stones practically eliminates the need for sprinklers, and using native and drought tolerant trees, flowers, and wild grasses can reduce the use of water by 50% or more. For tasting rooms that are out in more rural areas, incorporating the environment already around your tasting room minimizes your impact on the native wildlife, allowing your business to operate without displacing animals from their habitats. Using the established flora means that you're not introducing outside or invasive plants to the area, which could do damage to the local ecosystem. If you have a kitchen on site or offer charcuterie for guests, having a fresh herb garden can supply you with bits and pieces without breaking the bank. Picture in the background of this slide, which is of Kendall Jackson Wine Estate and Gardens, exhibits this idea on a very large scale, but even a small patio herb garden could be useful and charming. At Cambria, we have lemon, peach, and guava trees, and a climbing rosemary bushes. Because we don't have a kitchen, these are used primarily by the staff to spice up teas and drinks and to eat as snacks. If you do have some acreage on your tasting room property, something that could be fun for visitors is the sensory garden. These kinds of gardens help your guests describe what they're smelling and tasting in the wines you're pouring. Planting things like lemongrass, honeysuckle, and citrus to help describe white varieties, and using berries, cherries, and violets for red varieties. And like the herb garden, any fruits grown can be picked and shared in the tasting room, the flowers used to attract pollinators, and old or dropped fruit can be collected for fertilizer in the vineyard or food for local wildlife. If you have a nice grassy area near your tasting room, create a bee and butterfly garden sanctuary with wildflowers. It brings a lot of beneficial insects to your area, and you're providing much needed food and shelter for our pollinators. This is another relatively easy, low maintenance option. The great thing about sowing wildflowers is that they will self-seed and they don't require much watering, if any. This also is another place where native grasses can be used to create a meadow. Wildflower meadows are great for minimizing soil erosion. We know how important bees are for our environment. Giving these awesome insects a place to feed and rest while beautifying the surrounding area is a win-win situation. Wildflower meadows make stunning panoramas and provide the perfect area for visitors to picnic while sipping on some wine. These wildflower shots in the past two slides are of the Bee and Butterfly Sanctuary Garden at Cambria Winery. Also, I just really love this picture. If you don't have a lot of property where your tasting room is located, try curating a living roof. These kinds of roofs can help provide insulation to the building, create habitats for wildlife, and can help cool off the surrounding environment. While tile, slate, and concrete buildings and roofs store and radiate environmental heat, these living roofs absorb less heat and evaporate water by respiration, cooling their surroundings. If your tasting room is on winery or vineyard property, consider displaying small, unobtrusive signs near gathering areas that describe the sustainable practices that can be seen, such as ponds that collect winery wastewater to use in irrigation, owl boxes, wildlife corridors, herds of grazing animals that are used for weed and grass control, and solar panels. These point of interest signs can clue in customers that being environmentally conscientious is important for the brand as a whole and shows ways sustainability is being practiced and help educate visitors on vineyard and winery practices. So up to this point, I've spoken about large-scale and mostly decorative ways to visibly strengthen the sustainable message, but there are easier to implement goals that you can do to decrease your impact on the environment and be more sustainable, such as installing LED or solar lights outside, using squeegees, brooms, and brushes when you clean your patio before spraying them down with water, provide recycling and composting containers for your guests in addition to your waste containers, and having chairs or patio furniture from local artists that are made from recycled barrels. Having high efficiency windows in your building will help with your heating and cooling costs, and installing electric vehicle chargers in your parking lot will encourage those with EV cars to come visit. So now that we've discussed some ways to practice and promote sustainability on the outside of the tasting room, let's head inside and see if we can do the same. Inside the tasting room is where you really have an opportunity to promote your brand sustainability. First and foremost, by displaying SIP certified signage, which can be purchased from the SIP certified website. The signage is great for prompting people to ask about sustainability, what it means, and how it pertains to wine. Use canvas bags instead of craft paper bags for on-premise wine sales. Even offer a small discount if customers bring their canvas bags in with them. Offer recycled pens for visitors to write their tasting notes or to sign their credit card receipts. And ask them to bring their corks from home to be recycled instead of throwing them in the trash or in a collection bucket to gather dust. Companies like Recork and the Cork Forest Conservation Alliance will use recycled cork to make products like coasters, yoga blocks, shoes, and other items. Along the same lines as the cork recycling, offer to recycle empty wine bottles for customers. This provides the added benefit of encouraging them to return to the tasting room. As an alternative, offering wine growlers to be filled from the tap of the tasting room provides a way to reuse glass without it ending up in the waste stream. When offering water to guests, consider using refillable water pitchers instead of plastic water bottles or a large plastic jug, or just use a clean, empty wine bottle to be extra sustainable. For an added touch, you can offer them wine glasses made from wine bottles instead of plastic or paper drinking cups. They can be cleaned in the dishwasher and eliminate plastic from cups and bottles entering the waste stream. Compostable cups are also a good option as well. Offering goodies and crafts made by local artisans and eateries supports your community and increases the likelihood of those vendors recommending you to their clients. Consider having a rotating featured local artist in your tasting room. You can also make small changes to your everyday operations to increase your sustainability. Reuse packing materials from incoming shipments when packing outgoing shipments. You can even include a note or sticker explaining to the recipient that you reuse packing material and encourage them to do the same. If you can't use the packing material, consider recycling it to your local shipping company, like a UPS store. They actually think we're crazy. We do this a lot, and they always kind of look at us like we're strange when we start bringing in like bubble wrap and packing peanuts, but that way it's not in the waste stream. Eliminate styrofoam out of your waste stream by using recyclable pulp board shippers instead of foam inserts. Fun fact, some pulp board shippers are made of pulped newspaper and recycled wine corks. Are your wines made from sustainable vineyards? Explain what that means and why it's important in the tasting menu. Talk about the different wildlife that can be seen in the vineyard and what your vineyards do to minimize their impact on local wildlife. Pictures of the native flora and fauna are a great way to start that conversation. Again, provide proper waste receptacles for your customers. Having needed waste containers that are easily accessible is so important. The easier that you make it for your consumers to make the environmentally responsible choice, the better it is as a whole. During cleanup, use an eco-friendly cleaner, and if you have enough glasses, wash only full racks of wine glasses in the dishwasher to maximize your water efficiency. If you hold wine club events at your tasting room, try to use local caterers who are also sustainable. Caterers who don't supply a lot of packaging like individually boxed meals, and that use compostable plates, cutlery, and napkins to help minimize the impact these kinds of events have on the environment. Excuse me. Find ways to get your customers excited about sustainability. Hold an Earth Day event where you can plant a tree on the property, or a wine club beach day and trash pickup. If your tasting room is on winery property, hold a nature walk and talk about the different animals that can be seen. Involving your customers shares your commitment with them and educates them on what sustainability means. For a more hands-on approach for making the facility itself more sustainable, again, consider installing motion sensor and LED lighting inside. In the bathrooms, low-flow toilets, no-water urinals, and motion sensor faucets can save gallons of water a day. And composting bathroom paper towels minimizes your waste stream. And of course, using an energy-efficient dishwasher saves money, water, and energy. One of the easiest ways to quickly improve your tasting room sustainability is minimizing your waste stream. Unfortunately, you don't really know how much waste you generate at your facility until you measure it. Performing a waste audit can help determine how much waste you generate and can pinpoint areas in which you can improve, give you ideas if you have enough waste receptacles, and motivate staff to produce less waste. So what is a waste audit? This is when you collect your waste from all areas of the facility, including recycling and food and kitchen waste daily. Each day, spread your collected waste on a tarp and tally what you find. Organize your findings as garbage, paper, plastic, metal, glass, and compostables. Don't forget to wear protective gloves. You can take this a step further and measure the volume of the waste you generate by weight if you have a large scale on site, or measure the length and width of your pile. Do these steps for a week and total up your numbers. You can see just how much recycling gets put in the trash, how much non-recyclable material you use, and discover if you produce enough organic waste to make composting worthwhile. You can use this data to train your employees on proper recycling techniques or make changes for purchasing supplies. Composting is one more tool in your toolbox for minimizing your waste stream and increasing your sustainability. If you find you make enough organic waste and paper towels, consider composting on site. This will reintroduce much needed nutrients back into the environment and benefit your landscaping. If you can't compost on site, or you just don't feel comfortable with trying the process on your own, check your local waste management companies to see if they haul compost off-site or provide training on what can and can't be recycled and composted. Some companies also provide reduced price composters. If you do decide to take the composting plunge, the easiest and most plentiful item to compost is paper towels. Used paper towels cannot be recycled, so composting paper towels from the bathroom and kitchen reduces the amount of garbage you send to the landfill. As mentioned before, having wine club events provides many more opportunities to compost napkins, compostable plates and cutlery, and food scraps. If you want to compost, but you have no way to use it and you don't have a third-party service to haul it away, talk to local farmers. Sometimes compost can be used for feed or can use out in their gardens. An aspect of sustainability that people don't really think about is social equity, or employee and community engagement. Enriching the employee experience by ensuring a safe work environment and offering additional training and team building exercises ensures that your employees stay healthy, happy, and committed. Provide an educational field trip for your tasting room staff, whether that's working a day at the winery to see what goes on in the cellar, participating in offsite programs like the SIP Smart training, or going wine tasting in your area to compare different styles of winemaking. Start a wellness program, even if it isn't anything official. Start the shift with a 10-minute stretch or yoga session, get healthy snacks delivered for your staff instead of keeping candy and chips in the back, or have a walking challenge where whoever has the most steps walked by the end of the weekend gets a bottle of wine. The goal is to keep people healthy and moving. If you have multiple employees that come in on a shift, offer compensation for those who ride share. This not only helps form bonds within your staff, but also has the added benefit of being good for the environment by minimizing the amount of cars on the road. Have an employee garden. For the past few years at Cambria, we've planted hot peppers, bell peppers, pumpkins, tomatoes, and eggplant. We've used our pumpkins as decorations in the tasting room come fall, and have even given away extra seedlings to customers. It gets the employees outside and away from their normal day-to-day activities. It's a nice morale boost. Another aspect for being socially sustainable is community involvement. Purely from a business standpoint, this just makes sense. Being engaged in the community that supports you, being visible, helps to reinforce your name to customers, but it's so much more than that. We want our communities to grow, to be successful, and to be around for many years to come. Do things like organize a trash pickup around your area, have an all-staff volunteer day to work at the local food bank, or offer free wine tasting to anyone who brings in coats and blankets for the local homeless shelter. There are so many ways to give back to the community that supports us with their business. So sustainability is more than just a movement for the winery and vineyard teams, but it's something we can all take part in, which improves the quality of our businesses, our community, and the earth around us. Hopefully I've shared some ideas that will be successful for you. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them. And you can always email me at samantha.aguilar@cambriawines.com if there's something you'd like to discuss in more depth. I'd like to know if there's anyone who has any other sustainability ideas that I didn't mention. If you've seen things in other places, if you have ideas that you're wanting to share, I'd love to hear it.